feeling, well, we do know that they showed it because from within her own camp, they leaked that during the Rails watch party, that, you know, because it was in place of the reunion,
Yeah.
that she was stressed the fuck out, that they showed it. So, what I was going to tell you, the tea is that this is recent tea, that they were so worked up that they aired it. And this is, I don't think this is out there anywhere, that Louie and Teresa are going to address this on her podcast to do damage control. So look for that, you guys, on Teresa's pod. They're going to address what they aired about what he said about Margaret.
Well, if they're gonna do, so what? They're gonna put like a podcast out after tonight's episode, whatever day her podcast comes out, I guess.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is, they went to the watch party and they saw that they aired that scene that freaked her out. And they knew it wasn't going to land well with the public. So probably because she's in Greece right now. So probably before they left for Greece, they recorded something. And we're going to see it on her upcoming pod. And again, thanks to the people in her camp that have big mouths, like they're over here telling people. And it's like, again, more people who just haven't learned their lesson. Like they're still out there blabbing to everybody about within the camp. So that whole camp, it's wide open and exposed for everyone to see. But yeah, I heard that before they left. After they saw that they played that scene during tonight's finale, Louis freaks out and he has to address it because he knows he's going to look bad. I mean, you go from threatening her son to then saying something like this. And if I was Margaret Josephs, when I was at that watch party and I saw that scene, I would have went to HR immediately and said, from threatening my son to now this, that's a threat. I want to file a complaint.
I agree. And it must be bad if you're telling me she called you way back after they filmed this scene that night at 2 a.m. She must have known right away that he never should have said what he said against Margaret. Like, it must
Yeah.
be bad.
And so when we see Jim Leonard saying, I've never seen her so, no shit, look who she's married to.
And if they're doing it and addressing it on the podcast afterwards. But I mean, now if this is a leak and like she does this on the podcast and someone in her own camp is now blabbing this and you heard it, like, doesn't she say, why am I speaking to all these people? Like, it's all getting blabbed
I know.
around.
I know. I hope she does. I really hope she does because she knows exactly who's saying it. So, she should cut that out because that person also profits from her information. That person makes good money with her sponsors and her Patreon. So I'm just like, where's the loyalty? She always proclaimed her devotion to Teresa for over a decade. And it's like, you're still over here on the side, like feeding all your little minions so that they know you still have connections, like the exclusive, like insider information tea that you get from your girl. Like, I don't get it. She has a big mouth. It's crazy.
And I wonder if Teresa like spoke to production. Like, did she tell you like when she called you at 2 a.m. to say, oh my God, this horrible scene that we're going to see tonight? Like, did she ever say like, oh, I try to beg them not to air it or anything like that?
Yeah, she talked about how she was telling her producers, like, I hope they don't show that. I don't want that in there. But again, like that just goes to show too, like she doesn't have as much pull as people think because
No,
they aired it.
not when it comes to that stuff. I feel they will not, they just do it. You know what I mean? Like, she
You know
can't.
what else? Sorry, David. This just popped into my mind. You know what else is funny? You know what else I heard? And several people reached out and they were like, oh, you mentioned on David's podcast a week ago that Teresa really does hate Kim D. And I was like, well, no shit. She really does. I mean, I showed everybody the text messages. They're just trying to silence her and flip her. That's not a legit friendship. I don't care how many times they want to go out to lunch and post pictures. Like, Teresa hates Kim. And I know Kim knows it. Anyway, long story
Mhm.
short, people are telling me that, I don't know if this is true or not, but according to Kim, that Kim is like, oh, I filmed in season 14. Teresa doesn't hate me. She loves me, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, what? I know for a fact Kim D didn't film because Jim Leonard himself told me that he was trying to broker peace between her and Teresa because they didn't want her talking shit about Louie anymore. So if she would have filmed, Teresa would have agreed to that. And Teresa hated I mean, she wanted nothing until Jim Leonard, got that little sit down together between them. But Teresa wanted nothing to do with Kim. So I know for a fact in season 14, Kim never, if this is true that she's saying this, Kim never filmed. Never, never. That's a lie. I don't know if someone's making it up or if Kim herself is saying this, but that never happened.
Maybe like to save face after you said that Teresa hates her, which I mean, look, she does. Like, right? She's not making up with any ex-friends. I'm sorry, Jacqueline, including Jacqueline, other than if there's a reason to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, her
Yeah.
making up with Jacqueline, she might like Jacqueline, but that was to go viral and take a picture in Vegas to get all the heat off Louie. I mean, that's why that happened.
Well, same with Jackie Goldschneider. Teresa has like nothing in common with Jackie. She doesn't like her, but they needed her this season. And they were made aware that Jackie was speaking with Vanessa. So, I mean, it's just all for optics, guys. But no, Teresa made it so clear. Like, the only reason why they made up with Kim D was to silence her. And it worked because did Kim ever talk shit about Louie afterwards? No. I mean,
That
Kim was on your podcast telling us about how he was a sex addict, how he was hitting the girlfriends, how he was doing this, how he was messing with Carrie Ann, like, and then overnight, boom, silence. So Jim Leonard got what he wanted. They wanted to silence her. They wanted to flip her. I told them it was Kim D, not Margaret, and not Vanessa herself that started a whole smear campaign against Louie back in 2021. What happened? We don't care. We need to shut her up. She knows too much. We don't want her talking. Done. And look what they ended up doing. They silenced her.
They silenced her, which, I mean, all those episodes of my podcast are up. I mean, you guys repost them a lot, but right. I mean, that is up there on YouTube and Patreon. Like, it exists. Like, they're all that
Yeah,
was said.
and it just cracks me up. Like, it really does. Like, I have to giggle a little sometimes because Kim's whole thing is I run with the big boys. For someone who runs with the big boys, like, you really sat there and let somebody silence you. That speaks volumes. I don't care if
And
they want to wrap it. I don't care if they want to wrap it up as like, oh no, we're legit friends. We have a history. You were on David's platform telling the whole world that Joe Giudice really did cheat on Teresa, that she killed her dogs. Like, history or not, there was bad blood there, and they did not want her talking anymore, and they did everything in their power to silence her. I know Jim Leonard went to Kim and I know Kim's going to deny this, but Jim Leonard told me they were going to try to offer her a spot, just like they did to Jackie Goldschneider. Hey, join our team. Don't say nothing else about Louie. We're going to get you to film. We'll get another posh show on, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's, I know the game Jim Leonard sells. I know what he did to silence Kim, and it worked because they silenced Kim. But I'm just like, wow, you run with the big boys, and yet they silenced you. And someone else pointed something else out to me. Like, when you run with the big boys, you don't talk about running with the big boys or else. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't know. Anyway,
well,
God bless.
listen, the only time I spoke about it, I said I'll make one statement about it. Although I'm having my second live show on August 15th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. When I do these live shows with Sarah Fraser, you can ask any question you want. You pay your admission. We all have fun. No questions. So when people go to that and they want to ask me about this, I talk about it because that's what I'm promising. But the one statement I made about this is everything you just said. I said all of this. I outlined it at the time whenever this happened, about a year ago now. I said, let me just explain to all you lovely people who are begging me to make a statement. I'm making one statement and I'll never make a statement again. This is exactly what happened. I said exactly what you